Hey all, Alex here at your home of the Music Deep Dive, and today it is time for a review of the 1849 novel by Charlotte Brontë, Shirley. This is the second published novel by Charlotte Brontë. It was published in the wake of the incredible success of Jane Eyre. Of the Brontë sisters novels to that point, Jane Eyre was the one that really kind of exploded commercially. Both of Anne's novels, as well as Wuthering Heights by Emily, were met with more muted commercial reception. These are novels that I think over time have really sort of grown esteem in the public's eye. But Jane Eyre was an immediate smash, and so I think there was this sense of intrigue of what Brontë, or rather the alter ego that she was using at the time, what they would do next. Shirley was also published in the wake of Bronte's two sisters, and Anne and Emily, both passing away. And you really get that sense that there's connections there to the two of them in this story. It's said by some, it is disputed, but it is said that the two leads in this novel, Caroline and Shirley, are based off of Anne and Emily, respectively. Caroline being the more kind of meek, muted, quote-unquote weaker one. Shirley being more kind of headstrong and opinionated and that sort of thing. And the connection might be loose, but I think it's there. And I suppose in that sense, when you frame it in the way of this is Charlotte trying to cope with her sister's passings by memorializing them in print, that makes Shirley hit, I think, harder than the actual main story would have you believe on its own merits. The truth is that I am not super crazy about this book after having read it. I think the pacing of it is probably my biggest issue. I think, and when I say pacing, I mean the structure of it. The first half of the book really has this whole sort of side plot about kind of the gritty realities of, I guess, middle-class 19th century England, about kind of the business world and wheelings and dealings and things like that. It takes up so much of the first half, maybe even the first like 2/3 of the book, that it commands attention. It commands attention. You think that is going to be the focus, but it kind of drops back at about, again, that halfway point or slightly after it. And apart from one major exception near the end, the book really focuses on character portraits for the remainder of it and doesn't really deal with any of the business side. And that's where you really center in on Caroline as a character, and especially Shirley as a character. A bit uneven, I suppose. You also have the book is very Caroline focused for a big chunk of it, whether it is her interactions with her having to witness kind of the business side of things, because she has this sort of affection, feelings for this guy, Robert Moore, who is very kind of engrossed in that side of things, to the point where it threatens his own life at one point. But even after that, it focuses on Caroline and kind of her own feelings of loss, feelings of unrequited love, however you want to call it. And then there's a part in the middle where she survives a narrow brush with death. And the reason that she survives, which apparently wasn't intentional, or wasn't intended originally, it sounds like Charlotte wanted this character to die initially, but after the passing of Anne, she decided to have her live. And the thing that helps make Caroline heal is a reveal that I don't know is fully earned. And I understand that that might be unpopular in the eyes of some, and I'm totally fine with that. If you like the reveal that is in there, I would say good for you. That's fantastic. I guess when I was reading it, I was a little bit caught off guard by how sudden it was. It felt a little bit too fairy tale-esque. And at the same time, I think even if that is an issue, I can also see how that goes back into kind of the coping aspect of things, where Charlotte is trying to write this alternative reality where Anne actually lived. Um, so it's hard for me to nitpick there. I think there's probably a lot more going on that we're not really entirely aware of. So as much as I don't know that the reveal is really earned, I'm fine with it. But then once that happens, we kind of just leave it at that. We don't really explore the reveal, the relationships that are affected by the reveal, all that much, because then the book shifts from being focused on Caroline to focusing on a couple of these other characters, including Shirley, including Robert Moore. And again, that perspective shift kind of surprised me, because it is really like Caroline is the heart of the book. I mean, she's the heart through the whole thing, but especially the first 2/3 or so, she is like the centerpiece of the book. So to not focus on her for such extended chunks, I don't know. I wasn't crazy about it. But that said, I do like the characters. Again, especially the two leads. I think they both work really well for what they are. The writing in the book, as is to be expected, is very flowery, very beautiful, very elaborate. And, you know, overall, and I think the book ends on a fine note. I'm okay with how every storyline kind of wraps up by the end of it. I think it's just a little bit rocky in how it gets there. So Shirley is by no means nearly as well regarded as Jane Eyre. A lot of people, I think, who have read Jane Eyre have never touched this book and maybe never even have heard of it. And as far as whether I'd recommend it, I mean, it can't really hold Jane Eyre's coattails as far as I'm concerned. I would recommend it tentatively, though. I think there's a reasonable enough chance that if you like Jane Eyre, especially if you really like Jane Eyre, you will enjoy this as well. I can definitely say that my comments are probably nitpicking a little bit more than I need to. I think it has enough ingredients there to be an enjoyable read, to be a potentially moving read at points. And there are some great scenes, some really fantastic bits of dialogue here, actually. And the characters, I think for the most part, are quite solid. So, Shirley, I'm going to say check it out. Not my favorite Brontë novel that I have read so far, but nothing to sneeze at. Give it a read. Let me know what you thought. And with that, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, more reviews are to come. Tell a friend as well. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time right here at your home of the Music Deep Dive.